Do you enjoy games like Don't Starve? Are you partial to the good vibes and cute creatures of Animal Crossing? Or maybe the visual style and mechanics of Cat Quest? Hell, let's throw in a little Binding of Isaac as well. And then for good measure, some sacrifice. Oh, so much sacrifice. All of that is the best way to describe Cult of the Lamb, the newest game from Massive Monster and those psychos over at Devolver Digital. It's a crazy amalgamation of all those games that I'm just gonna come out and say is incredibly charming and won me over so easily. And beyond that, it's got all these weird little things added to it that just make it such a Jesse game. So let's talk about that. You begin your journey as a sacrificial lamb to the four gods of the forest. But your death is only the beginning as you awake to find yourself standing before the one who waits, a fifth god locked away by the others. This chained deity will offer you life once more and power beyond your belief if you do them a favor. What favor is that? Well, what is a god without worshippers? So you return to the forest once again on a mission. Defeat the four gods of the old faith, recruit cultists, and build your new religion. And at this point, the game sort of splits into two. One part is fast-paced, roguelike, dodging and slashing, and the other is a base-building cult manager. And while separate features, they are linked in helping you achieve your overall goal. The cult management portion of the game allows you to upgrade your skills and your potential for a great run in the forest roguelike portion. Meanwhile, the roguelike bits help you gather resources, followers, and information about the world at large. You need both to be successful. Your cult begins its humble origins on a small plot of land, a compound if you will, littered with just enough lumber and stone to get you started. And you start with a simple shrine and some sleeping bags, and eventually you work your way up to a larger temple and room for more cultists and mining and foresting nodes and oh so much more, all of which serve to empower not only the cult and cultists, but also your character. And just for fun if you want, you can unlock all sorts of ways to creatively decorate your compound as well. In order to gain new technology and abilities for your cult and yourself, you of course must recruit new cultists and then collect their faith. By managing your cultists' hunger and moods and daily chores, you ensure that they continue to give it to you freely. You keep them happy long enough and continue preaching the good word, and they will level up. The higher the level, the more faith they give you. Each cultist has its own stats and desires, and sometimes they are totally insane, but hey, you're the one who wanted to make a cult. Yes, sometimes they will get upset, and it falls upon you to re-educate them back into the flock. This indoctrination is something that continues into other aspects of the game as well. Inside your temple, you're given access to the powers of your dark crown via the temple altar, allowing you to not only upgrade the crown and your cult, but also preach a sermon, perform a ritual, even check on your chosen doctrine, which come from stone tablets and other fun things that you collect by leveling up cult members or going out on your god-slaying missions. But that's not all. You're also managing everyday life as well. Until your cultists are equipped well enough to handle it, they are basically forest animals. So at first, they're going to be doing a lot of stuff, like going to the bathroom and just random spots around your camp. So unless you want them to stumble around a bunch of crap and get sick, you're going to need to clean up after them. Same thing when they're hungry and it comes down to preparing the food. You're going to have to do that too. So before your cult can take off, where do you get all these resources and food and all this other stuff to help your cultists take care of themselves? Well, that is where the forest exploration and roguelike adventure comes in. When you leave your camp, you come to a Jack Skellington amount of forest doors, each taking you to the domain of one of the four gods you must defeat. In order to do so, you must make your way through several rooms of a dungeon, fighting off enemies, collecting items, weapons, spells, and more, while also selecting the best path through the forest. Along the way, you'll have the opportunity to save all sorts of fellow forest creatures, meet strange new friends, or encounter enemy gods who will delight in messing with you or your cult. The part that I love about this is, while it's relatively simple in design, there's just a wealth of options here. And the NPCs that populate the forest can change with each run as well. Be it the strange fortune teller that gives you tarot cards as a buff, or the weird bird thing that creepily drops tidbits of lore and then flies off. And eventually, you can start unlocking ways to visit them outside of the dungeons as well. On the world map, yes, one of those exists. There's locations to visit, minigames to play. You can go fishing or get caught up in a game of chance. It's fun moments like this that were totally unexpected when I got this game. Speaking of unexpected, the game has so many, wait, what moments? One moment you're just randomly goofing around and then suddenly you stumble upon an evil being that wants to offer you a fair trade? I mean, of course you're gonna take it. Anyway, once you make your way through whatever paths you choose, at the end you battle a boss. Usually a poor animal warped by the particular god you are taking on, and once defeated, you can recruit them into your cult. After defeating 3 bosses on 3 separate runs, you can unlock the final boss, one of the 4 gods. Once defeated, you open up that part of the forest to sort of an infinite dungeon runner where you can keep returning, raising the stakes as you delve deeper and deeper looking for loot or ways to improve your cult. Like I said before, this game is insanely charming and I genuinely love it, but I wouldn't be doing a service to you in a review if I didn't call out the game's biggest flaw, and that is the early game balance between exploration and cult management. It really takes a while for it to feel connected and not just a nuisance. Like I said, to start, your cultists rely heavily on you. And if you're a fan of the roguelike bit and you want to keep doing that, you'll find your cultists get mighty pissed being left alone. They go hungry, they crap everywhere, and eventually they start to get rebellious. So early on, you can't really venture off too far or too long away from your people. So if you're a fan of the exploration bits, you might start feeling a bit weighed down by the cult management. Things like cleaning up the poop so your cultists don't get sick are a requirement until you get the outhouse, but the outhouse isn't available in the first few hours of the game, so no matter what, you're doing a lot of cult management to start. And for cult management people, you probably love that idea, and that is what I'm talking about when it comes to that imbalance at the beginning. But once that balance of cult manager and roguelike finally works itself out, the game finds its pacing and quickly becomes something you can lose hours in. I genuinely cannot stress to you, I think a whole day went by. This one definitely indoctrinated me, and it can do the same for you, because Cult of the Lamb comes out on the 11th, and is definitely one worth picking up. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up or leave a great comment. I would love to know specifically, would you like more reviews? Because I can do that for you. Anyway, that is it, and I'll see you next time.